Okay, guys, yesterday we left off with the black and the orange, the colors of the season. And we talked a lot about Chopped and a little bit about the movie Escape from New York and the line, Walking the Orange Line. Of course, we learned that Donald Pleasance was also in the movie Halloween. Once again, taking us back to Trump. Um, what I'll do today is just kind of continue on um, to where we left off. Um, this is the shirt here. When you start looking at the tribe of Dan, okay, I don't want to say it's complicated because it's not, but it does take a long time to really let it soak in what really happened. Um, I did on the videos, if you look at my videos, if you go back and you look at Restoration Project, um, I get into the tribe of Dan uh, pretty in depth. Um, I I didn't want to get as in depth on this video because I found out that I was just kind of regurgitating everything I said in that video, and I don't really want to go that route. It's going to be a little bit more of a Cliff Note version. However, I think I can explain it well enough to for first time viewers. If they want to go back and relook at those things, that's fine. So we know from Dan, God says he was going to use him for judgment. Or we go back to the prophetic word we just talked about in the beginning of the last video. God's going to use Trump for judgment. How is this biblical? Is this biblical? You need to understand who both Obama and Trump really are, and they are both of the tribe of Dan. Now, that's not for me to prove to you, okay? Um, but what I did in my last video and what I'm going to try to do for you is show you some connections that are just infallible. And that's up to you to take it in prayer. That's up to you to do the research. That's up to you to ask God for understanding. Okay? The tribe of Dan was part of God's kingdom, and if you look at the map of where they were arrayed in Israel, they were arrayed to the north. Well, Satan fell. He was also in the north. Um, as far as how the throne was set up in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. So if you've listened to this channel enough, then you know that we talk a lot about we are the fallen angels that are here, not necessarily of the tribe of Dan, but uh, we are here to make a decision. I'm not going to get into the whole deal of that, but that's something that you need to also look at. You can look at the other videos here, and that's exactly why we're here. I believe that Dan portion are those that fell with Lucifer from the throne in heaven. They're the ones that gave up and renounced their positions and fell with Lucifer. Um, the What has become of those people or those spirits in these vessels here? They are used for judgment. They have the world. Okay, they have everything they want in the world. They're your rock stars. They're your queens. They're your leaders. They're your Hollywood. They're all these people you see that have gone the way of the world in every aspect, and there is nothing in them of God. Okay, they don't want God. They want the world. It's a typical. Go back to Freemasonry. It's all about immortality here versus doing the hard walk, carrying your cross daily for the Lord to have immortality and everlasting life, uncorruptible with Him in heaven. They want the world. Okay. So we know that idolatry, okay, Dan is known for their idolatry. That's in Judges 18. It's throughout the Bible. They resided in the north, and then they fell onto the guiles, I guess, for lack of better words, of Mount Hermon, where the fallen angels were. They practiced the Canaanite rituals. They had groves. They had idols in high places, and throughout Judges, that's totally evident of what they did. But the blessing that was given to them is they will be a serpent in the way and a judge for his people. God uses, just like he uses Satan, it's the same thing, really, on a much smaller scale, but God's using Satan for judgment. He's basically his arm of wrath for judgment, and he uses these people to judge us as well. All right. If you look at Lady Justice, if you ever go into a courthouse, there's always a serpent at the feet of Lady Justice. It's the serpent in the way. It's the I don't know how to say this. I'm gonna give you an illustration here in a minute to give you a better idea. So this is because there's a serpent in the way of judgment. God uses both Satan and his people to judge, to test the people of God. Will we cave in going the way of the world, or will we be obedient to his word and abide accordingly, then have everlasting life? Okay, remember, Obama is lawlessness, and you have Trump as the complete law. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a quick story, all right, about this woman in my town that just happened yesterday, a couple days ago. All right, she runs a grooming salon. I'm not going to give out her name. We'll just call her Sarah. All right, so Sarah runs this grooming salon. I've been going to her for probably about a year, taking my dogs there, having them groomed. She's a very sweet woman. Just never had a problem with her. Well, I find out the other day that she was arrested for animal cruelty, dragging a dog, throwing a dog, in a sense, kicking the dog, and then the dog ended up being killed in her shop. And so that's what we know. Okay, that's essentially what the news article says. This woman was arrested. There were witnesses that saw it. They wrote statements, and boom, she's in jail for animal cruelty. Well, we have obviously Facebook. All right, so you see this on Facebook in our community. The Forsyth community, blah 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 blah, and this is all posted. It shows her mugshot, and it's all posted over the internet on social media. This is supposed to be a Christian community. Okay, the largest church in Georgia is less than a mile from my house. Okay, so most of these people here would raise their hand if you asked them, hey, who's a Christian here? Raise your hand. I would say 80% to 90% would raise their hand saying, yeah, I'm a Christian. Okay, so these people get on, and I say these people, I'm painting a broad brush here, okay, but they get on the internet and they call this woman every name in the book. She's this, she's that, who's her mother? Her mother raised a killer. She's a B, she's a C, they protested outside of her shop. They said, close your doors, lock the doors. If we find you, this and that. I mean, it's been a total gut-wrenching thread, okay, against this woman. All right. So, obviously, me and my wife talk about this. All right. We have 2 dogs we take to her. And, of course, she's closed her shop. I mean, this is big news. And I'm like, this isn't right. This is not right. You have all these people bashing her. Okay. They don't know. Okay. First off, number one, she just lost her father in a horrible way. Okay. Very close to her father. We don't know the deep issues this woman has. And everybody is jumping the gun to throw this woman to the wolves, for lack of better words. And it's been very ridiculous reading some of these comments. But this is what's happened, okay? This is what's happened. What would Jesus Christ do to this woman right now if he was here? Okay? How would he treat her? How would he confront her? Okay? First off, I'm not a judge, I'm not a jury, and I'm nothing. Okay? But here's what I did do. And I'm saying this just because I think it helps illustrate the thinking here that we have, okay, with this. I wrote her a letter saying, look, my wife and I are very sorry to hear what happened. And I said, our dogs are as well, very sorry to hear what happens. We know you lost your father recently. If there's anything we can do to help, give us a call. And, that's the way we should be reacting. But we are taking everything into our own hands, condemning this woman, calling her every name in the book, You know, and you'll even hear God's going to have his wrath on you and all this. Who are you to say this to this woman? Who are you? Um, but anyway, I want you to think about that and think about our society and where we are. You know, how would Christ react to that? And that's the right way. Okay, I'm not saying what I did was right, but I'm saying what he would do would be correct. Anyway, God uses these people for judgment. Okay, but everyone always understand that the door for Jesus Christ is always open to go through that door, because God said to Cain, the very first one, all right, do well and thou shalt be accepted. If not, sin will lie at the door. And what I think that means is sin will overtake you and you will go the way of the world. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, so Dan resided on the shores of Israel near Joppa and Tyre. They established commerce. Okay, it is believed that they traded with the Greeks. Dan was chastised by Deborah and judges for staying on their ships during conflict. Okay, so they ventured out. They traded with Greece, and they ended up pushing even further. All right, eventually, and that's what happened. They settled in the north. After they were near Joppa and Tyre, they settled in the north by Mount Hermon. They picked up the practices of pagan worship, and through the Canaanites and the fallen angels, and from there they ended up moving even further west than Greece and going into Europe and up into Ireland, Scotland, Danish, Dan. Okay, you see the connection there. Um, um, what does Jesus tell us for those who are going to go work for him? Behold, I will give you the power to tread on serpents. These are the serpents that are in the way, the tribes of Dan. With all this, how do we connect Trump and Obama back to the tribe of Dan? There's a lot of information out there. Obama has Irish roots that trace back heritage all the way to an Irish politician named Kearney. You have Trump on a slightly different note with Scottish heritage, with humble beginnings. I think his great-great-grandmother was Mary, and they grew up in this small village. There's all kinds of weird connections that Trump has and Obama has to their history, not only with their birth dates, and then you have the 777. Everyone remembers that about the election with Trump. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to put all that in here, but what the Lord showed me, all right, when I started looking at this black and orange, just a simple connection that I took to heart that only God can do, was this. The colors black and orange, obviously the monarch butterfly, okay, which is a monarch, obviously is a king, a ruler, powerful, designated leader, crowned individual, and the monarch butterfly happens to be of the Danish genus, all right? So, and of course, you know, the monarch butterfly goes back to the MK Ultra, the changing of people, and that's exactly how he made the connection for me. There's several different types of Danish species that are named. I think I have them over here. Daania classifications, and I think what you know, there's just different things there. You have to watch the other video to get into that. But black and orange again, folks. It's the season of Halloween, and hopefully the harvest, and I believe these two are definitely going to be used in the harvest, and I don't think it'll be in a good way. I believe both are in the tribe of Dan, and I believe Don is the orange, and of course Obama the black, the darkness, the wickedness, the lawlessness, and Trump the law. All right, just like we just talked about with the illustration with the lady. God bless you all. Take care.